Hey folks, so today I'd like to talk about something called blue lining. I've heard it defined a lot of different ways. The one that made me chuckle was grab a map, find a blue line, and look at Google Earth. I try and be a little more organized in my destinations than that. I'd like to share with you a quick demo that I've done using OnX Hunt. It's something I've used a lot for initial scouting, finding camp areas, all of that for a lot of our hunting trips. So it provides for offline maps, which provide, well, they actually have several views. But the one I like to use the best is a satellite image with the contour lines overlaid. Helps me understand what the topography is like. You can't always tell from a satellite image exactly what you're walking into. It also allows you to zoom in and you're able to see a lot of the vegetation from that satellite image that are in those areas. With that in mind, one of the big things I like to do is I'll use gear or rods that are no more than 7 foot 3 inches, and something a little bit lighter. You're not going to find Moby Dick back in the woods there. Well, you could, but I've never have. And it provides the flexibility in that heavy vegetation, and especially when you're hiking in it, to be able to move a little more freely. So yeah, with that, I'd like to go ahead and go into just a brief demo of OnX. Keeping in mind, this is not an advertisement for OnX by any stretch. I understand there's several other packages out there, and I'm sure folks are going to go with what they're most familiar with. The other one that came up a lot was called All Trails. I'm not familiar with that, but yeah, I think folks like it that are using it. Yeah, Onyx is just the one that I started with years ago, and it seems to fit the bill for everything we need. So this is the mapping software. I'm going to go with that I prefer to utilize. It provides me with the ability to mark different areas. As you can see, we have, you can zoom in and out, but we also have the ability to put placeholders or waypoints and annotate those as well within the different areas. So, one of the big things that we're looking at here is a couple different things with this. You can actually show the property ownership and the division points associated with that. There's another function in here that will permit you to look at property owners that are associated with every bit of that. So that's always incredibly helpful. So we'll go to the Pecos area here. You can annotate parking points as you see here. Yep. And then of course you can annotate the fishing points as well. The one I'm going to show you here is Holy Ghost, and you have the ability to zoom in to just about any function you're going to want to look at. But when we were looking at this is actually one of the Pecos tributaries. It does have a campground nearby, but if you'll notice here, you have a different view than you normally would see, especially on a topo map. As you're looking at it, you're looking at a satellite imaging with the contour, basically a contour map overlying it. So you can break down the contour lines. One of the things to remember is the closer the contour lines, the steeper the country is around you. So food for thought as you're going through that. Now for this particular one of the other portions that I like about this is when you're looking at a contour map, it's green. So it's national forest. But here you're able to break it down and actually see the different trails that can lead you into the different areas. And it can be incredibly helpful as you're going in. Always keep in mind, if you're going to be blue lining and the terrain looks bad, this provides you with a satellite overlook to be able to look at that. And I'm going to break that down real quick just so it's satellite. And that way you can take a look, you can see very closely what you're actually going to be facing. In this area, when you're looking at the river, you see the shadowed areas, and keep in mind that's all vegetation that's going to make casting very interesting. But this is where a short rod comes into play. Generally, when we fish this, the largest rod I'll use is a 7 foot or 7 foot 3 inch. The fish are not going to be huge, but we have caught a few that were well over the 14-inch mark. So food for thought. Another benefit of using a mapping software program, and here again, this is on X-Hunt, is you have the ability to look closely at different campgrounds and see different areas. Now, if you've got questions in reference to the campgrounds themselves, I would look at the Forest Service, BLM, or DR, Department of Reclamation. I would call them and find out exactly what, if any, are the restrictions within the campgrounds. I know for this particular campground, the restrictions are nothing more than about 20 feet in length for a trailer or motorhome. So, and here's another benefit. This is a parking area that's here, that's outside of the fee area. And you can actually start fishing below the campground and fish your way up. But just something to look at, you know, when you're blue lining, and everybody talks about it, but nobody really defines it. Everybody's like, get a topo map and look at Google Maps. And I'm sure that works for some folks. This particular one I really like because it gives me a broader view of the area. Okay, folks, so a few other things to take into account when you're looking at blue lining is the main rivers that you're looking at, because when you're blue lining, chances are you're looking at a tributary. But keeping in mind the stocking reports for those areas, here in New Mexico, we have a complete breakdown of what they put in and where they put it. So that's incredibly helpful. Plus, we also have the fishing reports that are available for those areas. Now, I know we used Holy Ghost and the Pecos earlier. So as we look at this, it breaks down pretty much, you know, any pictures that folks have sent in here in New Mexico. But you also have the ability to look at the lakes and everything you're looking at there. So like the Northeast, we know that the Cowles ponds are actually up high on the Pecos. So you get a fishing report there, keeping in mind that in this case, the river runs right next to those. So that's always a nice touch. And the river, I've always found, tends to be a little better fishing here. You have the Pecos River. It gives you the stream flow of when it was taken, or the flow rates. And then, of course, you get a breakdown, usually very general, but when you know the areas or the rivers around them, or the tributaries, you can kind of base that off what they're saying here and carry that out or extrapolate that out to what you're looking for there. So just food for thought. All right, folks. So let me know if the video was helpful. If you have any suggestions, I'll be happy to incorporate them in. Also, I'll be happy to incorporate them in my attempts at blue lining. So thanks, and have a great day. Be safe and tight lines.